You know, Big Hero 6 is a great movie and all, but god damn it, the comics are so much better. And I'm not just saying that to be a pretentious douche, I genuinely like the comics. Now I'll keep it a buck and admit that I haven't read the entirety of the comic series in chronological order from like the last 5 to 6 years, but hey, can you blame me? Marvel hasn't released anything new for this series, but I have done quite a bit of brushing up for this video. Plus, comic accurate Honey Melon. Now shut the hell up. Praise her as a god just like Sunfire does. Oh, I'm not making that up. That's genuinely a thing that happens in the Big Hero 6 comics. Now, there are quite a few differences from the movie and comics. For one, the iconic setting of San Fran, Tokyo just doesn't exist in the Marvel comic. Which makes sense. I never understood the idea of combining one of the most beautiful cities in the world with the shithole known as San Francisco. Just joking, San Francisco is beautiful in its own way, I guess. Anyways, this series is really just an X-Men spin-off more than anything else. I'm surprised that Marvel was even able to make this work without the mutants. For one, the original leader of the team was not Hero, it was actually Silver Samurai. Yes, that's Silver Samurai. Quick rundown of the team. Hero is pretty much the exact same character in the comics, except he's kind of a bit more of an incel. Gogo, the character who inspires the most hot cosplays, is actually a criminal in the comics who's just working with the team basically for the same reason the Suicide Squad fucking exists. She's essentially just paying off her debts to the government for being a criminal. Baymax is a motherfucking dragon. Yeah, I'm not making this up. He's that or a fucking mecha. Motherfucker looks like a Gundam half the time. This motherfucker solos Optimus Prime. I don't give a fuck what you say. Honey Lemon, who actually looks slightly more attractive than her gender studies counterpart in the animated movie. You look like the only girl in the 60s who wouldn't call me the N-word. Honestly though, I wouldn't mind if Gogo called me that. Consensually in a bedroom setting. By the way, that's an open invitation to any Gogo cosplayer. Cause I am indeed a nerd. Wasabi, who in the comics is a chef, and also not black. Which is a shame because nobody has the N-word pass on this team. Except maybe Hero, he's definitely a nerd. And Fred, there's really not anything to say about him. I'm surprised this movie even worked considering how interconnected Big Hero 6 is to the wider Marvel universe in the comics. For example, Honey Melon's powers are literally the ability to use a purse with infinite space because of Pym particle hijinxes or whatever. Honestly, I prefer her to that New Warriors character that came out last year. I'm so barfing. The team first appeared in an issue of Alpha Flight. At the same time, they had their own series in the works, but that series ended up coming out before their issue of Alpha Flight because of some weird thing that happened. I don't even fully remember. Either way, they were supposed to appear in Alpha Flight first, but they didn't. Technically, they did because the issues of Big Hero 6 kind of pretend like you've already read Alpha Flight, but whatever. The comic did release in 1998, and it's clear as day as to what they were doing. It's clear they were trying to cash in on that anime/manga phase a lot of kids were going through at the time that their parents just didn't understand. And what is there to understand? It was Satan making their kids like Pokemon, and Yu-Gi-Oh! Was the devil. This was around the time that things like Toonami were popularized, before kids started dubbing and ruining your favorite animes. People like to say that comics pander now, but it's clear that the comics have always been kind of pandering to the younger generation. It just happens to be that my generation's adolescents look like this. And not like this. To be honest, Elon kinda fine though. This did not take place in some alternate universe. This wasn't a case of Watchmen where it was a self-contained story. No, this just took place in the Marvel universe. And that's why I feel to make this into a Disney animated movie was just one of the weirdest things to do. I mean, it didn't seem like Marvel had their priorities straight back then. Like there was supposed to be some MCU Runaways movie that was supposed to come out before 2012's Avengers. And I remember constantly getting the stories from the Guardians of the Galaxy, Big Hero 6, and Runaways mixed up in my head. Because Marvel pretty much just announced all those movies at the same time about teams. And I'm not really sure my 9-year-old ADHD-filled mind could comprehend all that shit. Besides, I only gave a fuck about Spider-Man, Iron Man, the Incredible Hulk, and the other Avengers anyway. Overall, there's just not much to even say about this team. They only ever appeared in a few comics and then just disappeared. Their main appearances came out during the years of 1998 to 2008, and they just had a few appearances in 2012, including a Spider-Man crossover. What makes this weirder is that 2012 was really their last appearance in the comics. period, and there was no like tie-in with the movie at all. What makes this weirder is how Disney seems to have taken all the Marvel branding off of Big Hero 6 to the point where most people don't even know it's based off of a Marvel comic. The movie does not have a Marvel logo anywhere near it. There's no references to Marvel comics outside of Stan Lee appearing, but then again, Stan Lee appeared in Teen Titans Go to the Movies and Mallrats, so that's not saying much. By that logic, the Princess Diaries are Marvel. This can even be seen in Big Hero the Animated Series, where there is absolutely zero reference to the wider Marvel universe. In fact, it's questionable if Marvel even has the rights to use them. There were rumors last year that Big Hero 6 were gonna appear in the MCU via Ironheart or Agents of Atlas, but those seem to have just been rumors. I don't really have anything else to say about Big Hero 6. I just thought it was interesting that it was based off of a Marvel comic. Overall, this is not meant to be like a review of Big Hero 6 in any way. This was just me talking about how Big Hero 6 were comic characters and their secret comic book origins.